text, and I'll be talking about that somewhat. So each of the components are important, but kids also need to be exposed to literature to build oral comprehension, and then later leading to reading comprehension. I'm going to talk about phonological awareness. Now, I hope I'm not repeating too much of what you learn in class. So if I do, just speak up, it's all right. Phonology pertains to the elements of speech in oral language. Position. A skill in phonological awareness is rhyming. And a little song that helps kids with rhyming that's really fun that they love because it incorporates their names goes like this. Shirley, Shirley, Bo Burley, Banana, Fana, Bo Burley, Fee, Fi, Mo Merly, Shirley, Albert, Albert, Bo Albert, Banana, Fana, Bo Albert, Fee, Fi, Mo Malbert, Albert, Craig, Craig, Bo Beg, Banana, Fana, Bo Beg, Fee, Fi, Mo Meg, Craig. So the kids love to hear that over and over. Phonological awareness should progress from larger segments to the smallest segments. So it's words in a sentence, syllables in a word. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped this part. The Common Core State Standards that VRI addresses are K-5 reading foundational skills, and those are the Common Core Standards that involve kids learning how to read. K-6 reading literature and reading informational text, and the vocabulary acquisition and use section of the language strand, K-6. That's the levels of research. There's Quizler, principles of good beginning reading instruction, and principles of good beginning reading instruction, phonological awareness, that's where we are. So, we're going to talk about syllables. Syllables in the word. Blending syllables is part of phonological awareness. So blend these syllables. Bath, room.
Bathroom.
Candy.
Candy.
Good. And so you see, first was a compound word, and then syllables. So as you start from the larger to the smaller. Now, once you can blend syllables together, then you have to be able to segment syllables. Take these apart, segment them. Mailbox.
Mailbox.
Pencil.
Pencil.
Manipulation of syllables is the third area. It can be addition, deletion, or changing the sound. So say football without foot.
Ball.
Say sunshine without shine.
Sun.
So then you manipulated the syllables. Every syllable has a vowel sound, and every syllable has a rhyme, but not every syllable has an onset. The onset is what comes before the vowel. The rhyme part is from the vowel to the end of word. And this rhyme is not the same as R-H-Y-M-E, although they're very similar. Got it. Yeah, thank you. Once kids can go from large to small, the smallest unit of sound in a word is a phoneme. So phonemic awareness is part of phonological awareness, but it's more refined down to the smallest part of the smallest unit of sound in a word. Phonemic awareness is not phonics. Phonemic awareness is oral, auditory, and oral. It is a very good predictor for reading success. It can be taught and has a positive effect on reading acquisition. Alphabetic writing was invented to represent speech. Speech was not learned from reading. So it's important to teach speech to print, not print to speech. So it starts with the oral language and phonological and phonemic awareness, which leads to decoding. If you teach just the letters and sounds, there are 26 letters in the alphabet, there are about 44 phonemes or sounds in the English language, depending upon dialect. Some letters don't even have a sound of their own. The letter C doesn't have a sound of its own. It makes a K sound, or it makes a S sound. There is no C sound. The letter X doesn't have a sound of its own. It's X, S, K, S. The letter Q, or QU combo, doesn't have a sound of its own. It's KW. So just the 26 letters and sounds don't really help by themselves. There are only 5 vowels, but there are 18 vowel sounds. And then some letter names are very confusing with the sounds, like the letter Y is really hard for kids, because when you say the name of the letter, Y, kind of making a W sound, but the sound it makes is Y. So that's a pretty hard one. But with the sound word approach, graphemes, the letters, are used to represent the phonemes, and graphemes can have more than one letter. So we're going to do some phonemic awareness activities. So phonological awareness blends, segments, and manipulates syllables. Phonemic awareness blends, segments, and manipulates phonemes or sounds. So now we're going to use the Elkonin box. A box is in front of you, and the little chips you want to hold horizontally, and put one chip underneath each box. And we're going to segment some phonemes. So I'm going to say a word, and you're going to push up a chip for each word, each sound you hear in the word. Bow. We're doing sounds, not syllables. Oh, you should have 2 chips. Okay, push them down. Boat. B-O-T. 3 sounds. Push them down. Snail. I'm getting the hang of it now. S-N-A-L. 4 sounds. Push them down. Nail. N-A-L. 3 sounds. Push them down. Okay, so that's a good game to play with kids who are learning how to segment sounds. And of course, you need to start with 2 sound words.
Okay, what is this called?
Those are Elkonin boxes. Elkonin was a Russian psychologist who developed this technique in the late 70s, and they're used to segment or to blend, using blend sounds as well, but mainly the segment sounds. So, a lot of textbooks will start with 3 sound words like cat, but some kids who have difficulty really need to start with 2 sound words like ice, pie, and they have to do that over and over. And a really good resource, of course, I know as students you don't have the money to buy teacher resources, and the schools generally don't buy this stuff for you, but put it on your wish list for someday. Phonemic awareness in young children has a ton of good activities for phonological and phonemic awareness. It is totally research-based, and it's by Marilyn Yeager Adams. Now we're going to do some manipulation. Actually, I'm going to just use some samples of phoneme manipulation rather than doing an activity. So this story is called The Hungry Thing, and this is great for young kids, first K1. One morning, a hungry thing came to town. He sat on his tail. He pointed to a sign around his neck that said, "Feed me." The townspeople gathered around to see the hungry thing. "What would you like to eat?" asked the townspeople. "Schmancakes," answered the hungry thing. "Schmancakes," cried the townspeople. "How do you eat them? What can they be?" Do you know what he wants? Has to be something to eat. Well, none of the grown-ups in the story can figure out what he wants, but of course, a kid knows what he wants. He wants pancakes. So once the hungry thing wants a whole bunch of stuff, the kids figured out and play with this. They love this story. A little bit older children might prefer manipulations more like this. Now remember, manipulations are addition of sounds, deletion of sounds, or substitution of sounds. And this is Running Babbitt, which is a Shel Silverstein book. This one's called the Funny Family. Running fed a hamily. Matter of fact, he had a suther and 2 bristers, a dummy and a mad. His mama fed him marrot kilk and parrot pie and such, and all of them were happy in their cozy honey bunch. Little kids don't get that, but older kids do. And older kids play themselves if they try to speak Pig Latin, they're manipulating phonemes. But it's a game, it's fun for them. Anything that's fun is good. Whoopsie. Once students can hear and manipulate discrete sounds and play with their phonemes, they can begin to learn letter-sound correspondence. It's not just weeks and weeks of phonemic awareness, then phonics. It's phonemic awareness, phonics, all blended. They reciprocate each other. They have a reciprocal relationship. So phonics is the relationship between phonemes and graphemes. So you can teach letter-sound correspondences and decoding. Letters need to be taught, letters and sounds need to be taught explicitly. This is the letter M. What letter?
M.
It makes the sound mm. What sound?
Mm.
When I hold up the card, make the sound.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Now, it's simple for you, but it's not so simple for little kids. I was hoping to be able to put up a pocket chart, and I really didn't have a place to put this up. So I thought I'd use a dot cam. Can't use that, so we'll have to bear with me as best you can. Once kids know a few consonants and a vowel, then they can begin sounding out words. And a really good technique for helping kids sound out words is cumulative blending. So it's really hard to keep a whole bunch of information in your head all at one time. When you try to learn a phone number, you keep 2 units in your memory. Ah! Okay, good. Oh, that'll work. Okay, thank you. You keep the first 3 digits as a unit and the last 4 digits as a unit. So you have 2 units of phone number in your memory at any one time. Thank you. So that's what we're going to do with this. S, S, A, G, T. Now we're going to blend them, so we only have to keep 2 units of sound in memory. So go S, A, blend the sounds.
Sa.
Now sa, ch, blend the sounds.
Sat.
So we have 1 unit, then 2 units to blend, because that's really, really hard for kids to be able to do. If they can't blend phonemes just orally, they're not going to be able to do this. And if they can only blend 2 phonemes orally, they're not going to be able to blend 3 phoneme words. So it really is a juggle. You have to kind of juggle the skills. You want to push them, but you don't want to make them frustrated. So it's not easy. I have had to give an assessment where kids had to blend these sounds. O, A, N, T. Any guesses?
Plant.
Plant. That's 5 sounds. And is it testing whether they can blend sounds, or is it testing auditory memory? Sometimes tests that you have to give are not really designed to help you figure out a deficiency in a child. They are not helpful. So you have to do what you have to do, but you can find better ways to do it sometimes on your own. Okay, now I need to go back to the, thank you. All right, I'll switch back again later, but not yet. So, I don't want to stand in your way here. Line your, you can hold this in. There. So, fluency has recently been studied by Melanie Kuhn and her colleagues, who did a 2010 study that synthesized reading research on fluency and came up with a more precise definition of fluency. So fluency includes prosody, and prosody is the intonation of your voice coupled with phrasing that makes meaning more clear. Frequently, fluency is measured as correct words read per minute, but it's really a lot more than that. This definition highlights the relationship between fluency and comprehension. And right now, there needs to be more research as to the causality of the relationship, but there is a definite relationship. Fluency, automaticity, and efficiency are also often used interchangeably, but automaticity and efficiency are only two of the critical elements of fluency, and prosody needs to be included as well. But automaticity is important, because if kids spend too much time just decoding words, they're not going to have comprehension. The decoding part has to become automatic to lead to. Musicians aren't expected to play a new piece of music every time they sit down to play whatever instrument they play. Sports figures don't need to do something new every time they practice. If a basketball player goes out to practice, he practices dribbling skills over and over again until dribbling becomes automatic. Musicians play the scales over and over again until it becomes automatic. Kids need the opportunity to reread the same text over and over and over again to develop their automaticity and become more fluent. And so we're going to do some little activities for repeated reading of the same text, because that really helps kids a lot. Basal readers will frequently have kids read a different story every day. So, and as a beginning teacher, you're going to rely on your teacher's editions, because you'll be overwhelmed. And you'll think, well, how can it be worse than college? Yes, it can. I'm sorry. But you'll need to use your teacher's edition, but you need to use your own professional judgment as well, and modify and adapt what it tells you to do and what you know is best. So, we're going to do some echo reading and some paired reading, and if we have time, we'll do some choral reading as well. And we'll start with echo reading. So, we'll need the doc cam part, please. Okay. Oh, that doesn't really run, but it's okay. There we go. Can you make it bigger? When you echo read, you have a chance to imitate the voice inflection and the prosody of the teacher. Okay, that looks good. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so the name of this is Flea, Fly, Mosquito, and you're going to echo each line. When we get to the bottom line, we do that together. Flee.
Flee.
Flee, fly.
Flee, fly.
Flee, fly, mosquito.
Flee, fly, mosquito.
Oh, no, no, no more mosquito.
Oh, no, 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 mosquito.
Itchy, itchy, scratchy, scratchy, I got one down my backy.
Itchy, itchy, scratchy, scratchy, oh, I got one down my backy.
Beat that big bad bug with the bug spray.
Beat that big bad bug with the bug spray.
I had a pointer, that's what I was looking for, but I don't see it. Craig, you see the little hand pointer?
Oh, you want a hand? What about the laser? Can you use your
No, not with the dock can. Oh, there it is.
What would you do without me?
I don't know what I do with that. So that's echo reading. Now we're going to do some paired reading.
Do you need to zoom out a little? No.
No, don't need to zoom out. Do you need to focus, I think, maybe? Okay, this, I can't tell, you
Isn't there
can't.
a dot cam light?
This is in 3 colors. There's a purple. Is that better?
It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
it.
Okay, there's purple that's on this side, and there's pink that's on this side, and there's blue that's in the middle. So you're going to read the purple part, I'm going to read the pink part, and we're going to do the blue part together. Okay, so we start together because that's blue. Ready? Here's a book with something new. You read to me, I'll read to you.
We'll read each page to one another. You'll read one side,
I the other.